We had a good episode of Ranking of Kings today, guys. Because let's just say, it's really nice to see Bojji develop that confidence in himself. After all that hard training he's done, it's really nice to see him coming into his own and finally starting to believe in himself and put in some work. He whooped those guys' asses in the bar with little effort. Despa definitely trained him well. But anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, we're here to talk about Ranking of Kings, episode 10. And we had a pretty interesting episode today, to say the least, So let's just get right into it, honestly, because there's actually a lot to talk about. I wasn't expecting this much, but there's a lot. So let's just get into it. Alright, so we got to see the results of Bojji's training today. And let's just say, he wasn't in there twiddling his thumbs. He was in there putting in the work. And Kage doesn't understand how, because we see the reveal of his weapon of choice that he picked in the previous episode. And it is like the smallest blade ever. It's literally like a pin. If I remember correctly, these kind of swords are called rapiers. I believe it's a rapier he has, which is a very thin blade, very sharp, thin blade that's like really good for thrusting. It's not for slashing, it's like a thrusting kind of weapon. Which, when we get into Bojji's training, is actually perfect for him. So, yeah, let's just kind of hop into that, honestly. So, Bojji's training's done. Despa congratulates him, and he wants to have a celebration with them all. So they go out and have a good dinner together. But, of course, as in every show, there's always the bumbling idiots. And our three stooges come walking up to our characters almost instantaneously and start picking a fight. Because, you see, these were the guys that messed with Despa previously. And who messed up his face in my one thumbnail. I love that thumbnail, by the way, for that video, guys. I really like that one. That one made me laugh when I did it. His face all messed up. But yeah, these were the guys that confronted him earlier, and they came to mess with him again, which is petty, but, people are petty in this world. But, yeah, so they came and tried to pick a fight with all of them. And, Despa's playing it off cool at first. He's trying to look good in front of his student. He's like, pay them no mind, Bojji. We're here to celebrate. And then they call him, what was it, a camel face? And Despa sends this man flying across the room with a punch. Joke's on him, though. It didn't do much, and he starts getting his ass kicked. They are stomping his ass into the ground. And this is where we get to see the results of Bojji's training. He's apparently gotten so much better that he doesn't even need his sword in this fight. Despa says so himself. He's like, against these enemies, he can fight them barehanded. And we get a bit of an explanation onto Bojji's power and his strength. Because you see, when he fights barehanded, apparently he uses his opponent's strength against them. And he's able to find their weak spot. He's able to pinpoint their weak spot on their body and target that. So even he himself, with no strength at all, is able to take people out. For instance, when he was barehanded, Despa was talking about how the jaw is one of the weakest parts on the body that can easily lead to a concussion, which he's right on. As someone who's been in a decent amount of fights like myself, let me tell you, the jaw... A lot of people have glass jaws. And Bojji was able to take this guy out with just a punch to the jaw, which is crazy to think about. If we know Bojji like we've been following him throughout the series, he's like really, really weak. So the fact that he's able to do that now really shows that Despa's training has really paid off. And in the same scene, the guy does get back up, and he pulls his axe out. So Bojji brings his sword out, and we get an explanation of that too. And this one I did find a little confusing, I'll be honest. So we'll try to break it down together. How I interpreted it as is because the sword is so thin and like precise, he's able to not really cut people in half per se, but he's able to pinpoint the nerves onto people to shut off their blood to their brain to apparently knock them unconscious. Which, if you think about it, that's more scary than just being able to cut someone in half with a sword. Just the precise precision that you would need to do something like that. Bojji's kind of like a surgeon now, if you think about it. Just the way he's able to pinpoint these weak spots on the people. It's really intriguing, honestly. It's a really cool way to have our main character become stronger and to showcase that you don't need physical strength all the time to become stronger. I think it's a really fascinating way to do it. And I think a rapier is like the perfect weapon for Bojji now that he knows how to do that. Because it's so thin that he's able to get between all the muscles into people and find these weak spots to cut off their blood flow. So I think it's brilliant, actually. I think that's a great idea. And I'm very interested to see more of this technique in the future because I really like it. I do. I think it's a great way to make Bojji stronger without some like ass pull like power up that you see in anime all the time, you know? But yeah, so Bojji takes these guys out. And of course they're all happy. They're excited. Kage, who doubted him in the beginning of the episode, laughing at the sword, was jumping for joy at it. And even Despa, you could tell, was proud. So they're leaving the bar. But then all of a sudden, Despa says, oh, I got to go do something, guys. Why don't you go ahead of me? And it's at this point we realize he's been up to something this whole time. And it turns out he actually was meeting with these three guys that attack them and the royal guard of the underworld that we saw in our previous episode. He's actually meeting up with them. They've had a plan this entire time. He hired these guys to take out Bojji. Now, he didn't hire them to pretend like Bojji beat them. Bojji definitely beat him. Because the guy even said in that scene that the second he drew his sword, I knew I could not win this fight. So, it goes to show you that he's definitely gotten stronger, but it makes you think, like, what is Despa up to, you know? What is his ulterior motive? Like, what has he been planning this whole time? It's kind of a head scratcher if you think about it. But I assume we will find that out soon enough. But yeah, I don't think he's bad per se, but he's clearly up to something. Maybe he's planning something with his brother. But only time will tell. But now we actually transition to Bepin. Bepin and his snake, who, I don't know if we found out this earlier, but we find out his name is Mitsumata, which is a pretty cool name for a snake, honestly, Mitsumata. It's actually one I can pronounce, so. So yeah, we transition over to Bepin and Mitsunata because Kage asked Bojji, like, how did you get so good at dodging? Like, yeah, you weren't physically strong, but your reflexes and your dodging abilities are incredible. You're like the fastest person I've ever seen. How did that happen? And it turns out that Mitsumata actually has been training Bojji since a young age. Because remember, we did see that Bojji saved him from those guards previously when they were about to kill him, when he was much, much smaller. So Mitsumata is actually indebted to Bojji in a way. So he's been training him in secret this whole time. Which Bojji didn't know that Bepin knew about the entire time. And it adds more credence to why Bepin decided to tell Kage to protect Bojji. We don't understand why, but it makes a little more sense in this scene. Because Bepin even says, like, even if you train Bojji, I think Daido would still be a better king. But then Mitsumata responds like, that may be true. He might not rise to kingdom to become a king, but he will definitely save people one day. He will be a hero to people one day, and he will even save Daido himself. And Bepin just gets a kick out of that, of course, huh? Which, who wouldn't, to be fair, looking at Bojji with how he was, but he's a changed man now. He's much different than he was before. But we do see a little later in the episode that he still has that self-doubt. Because no matter how much stronger you get in life, guys, no matter how much you've grown, the doubt never leaves your mind. You always have it. It's always there, lingering in the back of your head. Self-doubt, self-deprecation. Like, I can't do this. I can't trust this person. It's always still there. And it was this scene that Kage really stepped up and told Bojji, you got no courage, man. You got to man up. You have to be able to believe in the people around you. The courage to believe in others were his exact words. And that really hit a chord with Bojji, because that's a hard thing to do, man. Let me tell you right now, from personal experience as well, that's a hard thing to do. It's one thing to be able to believe in yourself and your own abilities, but the courage to believe in others is a strength that not a lot of people have, to be honest. So I think this was a great lesson for Bojji, honestly. And just overall a great episode, you know? Just to see his progression from where he came to where he is now is like, it's really nice. It's really inspiring, honestly. It just puts a smile to your face. And what more can you really ask for, you know? He's working hard and he finally sees the results of his training. But yeah, he was feeling self-doubt about the queen and all that, thinking that she was betraying him. That's why Kage stuck his neck out and told Bojji he has to believe in them. So our episode ends with them finding the resolve to head back to the kingdom, who is in a giant conspiracy right now. Lady Marinjo, I can never pronounce her name. Maranjo, I want to say. It's Maranjo. Is still in the underworld. Boss hasn't made a move yet. And Apis is guarding the underworld, so no one can really make a move. But with the situation like it is, I'm really thinking that Boss is up to something, you know? He's being way too coy for all this. It's very suspicious. For him not to be doing anything means that he's got something planned already. And what is Lady Mirinjo going to bring back from the underworld? Because in our final scene of the episode, we do see a pretty messed up sight. It looks like a knight clad in armor eating a rat, which is pretty gross, honestly. Then we just see a sinister smile. So what could that entitle, you know? Is that our big baddie that we're going to have to see later on in the show? We'll have to wait and see for that, but I don't know. Still things up in the air, but overall, it was quite a good episode. To see Bojji's progression makes me really happy, honestly. I can't wait to see what he does in the future now that he has more confidence in himself. Because that's the name of the game, baby, confidence. We need that to be able to progress in world. If I didn't have confidence, I wouldn't have the courage to be able to sit in front of you guys right now to do this. It just takes a lot of courage, guys. You really put yourself out there doing this. To say your heart's on your sleeve in doing something like this is kind of an understatement. So I very much appreciate all the support, guys. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode. I thought this was a great episode, you know? I thought this was great character development for Bojji. I think it's cool, actually, the style that they gave him, too. Because it's different. It's not something you would normally see in these kind of shows. Normally in these shows, like I said previously, that, they'd get some ass pull power-up or something. They would automatically become, the strongest ever. Which, to be fair, I guess Bojji is technically called the strongest in the world right now. But it's from a very different method. And it's from a very plausible method based on his character and just how he is, too. So, you guys let me know what you think about that in the comments, you know? I think it's very interesting, personally, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. But yeah, guys, I think that'll be it for today's episode. I'm really excited for the next one. We're just getting to the good parts of the show. Like, I feel like we're going to really start ramping up soon. And I can't wait to get into that with you guys. But until then, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. Yes, I quoted Friends. It is what it is. But yeah, guys, I hope you do have a great day today. And until next time, deuces and have a blessed day.